First contact gone wrong. The Zarathian Empire had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. Their crystalline warships, powered by quantum singularities, had never known defeat. Their soldiers, bred for war, stood 12 feet tall with armor that could withstand the heat of a dying star. They had conquered 1,000 worlds, enslaved countless species, and believed themselves invincible. On the bridge of the Imperial dreadnought Zal-Thor, High Commander Vexnar gazed at the holographic display, showing a small blue planet in a backwater system. His 4 eyes narrowed with contempt. "This is the world our scouts found?" he asked, his voice echoing through the crystalline chamber. "Yes, High Commander," replied Science Officer Zix's telephone. "The inhabitants call it Earth. They possess basic nuclear technology, primitive space vessels, and their military forces are laughable." Vexinar's mandibles clicked in amusement. "Another easy conquest. Signal the fleet. We begin the invasion immediately." What the Zarathians didn't know was that humanity had been watching them for years. Deep beneath Earth's surface, in bunkers that stretched for miles, the United Earth Defense Command had prepared. They had studied every alien race, reverse-engineered technology from crashed probes, and developed countermeasures in secret. When the Zarathian fleet entered the solar system, they expected minimal resistance. Instead, they found something that made their advanced sensors glitch and fail. "High Commander," called out the tactical officer, "we're detecting strange energy signatures near the planet." "Ignore them," Vexnar ordered. "Begin the attack sequence." The first wave of Zarathian fighters descended toward Earth's atmosphere. They were met not by the outdated aircraft they expected, but by swarms of drones that seemed to appear from nowhere. These weren't ordinary drones. They moved with impossible speed and precision, their movements coordinated by an artificial intelligence that predicted Zarathian tactics before they happened. Fighter after fighter exploded in brilliant flashes. The drones didn't just shoot. They attached themselves to Zarathian ships and detonated, creating electromagnetic pulses that disabled entire squadrons. "Impossible," Vexnar roared. "How can primitives have such technology?" Below, on Earth, General Sarah Chen watched the battle unfold from the Global Defense Center. Her fingers danced across holographic controls as she coordinated the defense. "Phase 1 complete," she reported. "They're taking the bait." The Zarathians regrouped and sent in their heavy cruisers. These massive ships had shields that could withstand planetary bombardment, or so they thought. From hidden silos across Earth's surface, humanity launched their response. Not missiles, but something far more devastating. Directed energy weapons that used principles of physics the Zarathians hadn't even discovered yet. The beams didn't try to break through the shields. They bent space itself, creating micro-singularities that tore the cruisers apart from the inside. As ship after ship vanished in flashes of impossible light, panic began to spread through the Zarathian fleet. They had never encountered anything like this. "High Commander," the communications officer stammered, "we're receiving a transmission from the humans." On every screen across the Zarathian fleet, a simple message appeared. "You haven't seen anything yet. Leave now, and we'll let you live." Vexinar's fury overwhelmed his judgment. "Insolent primitives. Send in the dreadnoughts. I want that planet reduced to ash." But as the massive dreadnoughts moved into position, something strange happened. One by one, they began to disappear. Not destroyed, simply gone, as if plucked from space itself. "What's happening?" Vexnar demanded. Science Officer Zixtel's voice trembled. "Unknown, High Commander. Our sensors show nothing. It's as if they never existed." In reality, the dreadnoughts had been caught in humanity's most secret weapon, artificial wormholes that transported them to the other side of the galaxy. The technology was experimental and dangerous, but desperate times called for desperate measures. As more ships vanished, the remaining Zarathian forces began to retreat in disorder. They had come expecting an easy victory and found instead an enemy that defied their understanding of physics and warfare. From his command throne, Vexnar watched his invincible fleet scatter. For the first time in his long military career, he felt something cold grip his heart. Fear. "Sir," his second-in-command whispered, "perhaps we should withdraw and regroup." Vexnar's pride warred with his survival instinct. "Send word to the Emperor. Tell him we need reinforcements." As the battered Zarathian fleet limped away from Earth, they received another transmission. This time, it was a video feed showing General Chen's calm face. "You made a mistake coming here," she said. "And you made an even bigger mistake thinking that was our real defense force. What you fought today. Those were our training units, our museum pieces, the actual Earth defense fleet." She smiled coldly. "They're still out there, waiting." The transmission ended, leaving the Zarathians in stunned silence. If those were just training units, what horrors awaited them when humanity's real military arrived? Across the galaxy, monitoring stations picked up the battle's aftermath. The impossible had happened. The mighty Zarathian Empire had been repelled by a species they considered primitive, and if the humans' message was true, they hadn't even used their full strength. As news spread, other alien civilizations began to reassess their views on humanity. Perhaps these primitives were something far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. In the depths of space, beyond the detection range of any known sensors, massive shapes moved through the darkness. The real human fleet, built in secret over decades, powered by technologies that shouldn't exist, was preparing to make its presence known. The Zarathians had awakened something they didn't understand, and now the entire galaxy would learn why humans had been content to remain hidden for so long. They weren't hiding out of fear. They were hiding out of mercy. The hidden strength revealed. Emperor Krathor sat upon his crystalline throne, his massive form trembling with barely contained rage. The holographic displays surrounding him showed the unthinkable, his mighty invasion fleet in full retreat from a primitive world. "Explain this failure," he demanded, his voice causing the chamber walls to vibrate. High Commander Vexnar stood before him, his once proud posture now hunched in shame. "My Emperor, the humans, they possess technology we cannot comprehend. They claim what we faced were merely training units." "Training units?" Krathor's laugh was bitter. "You expect me to believe that nonsense?" Before Vexnar could respond, alarms blared throughout the Imperial Palace. A communications officer rushed in, his scales pale with fear. "My Emperor, unknown vessels have appeared at the edge of our territory. They came out of nowhere." The main display shifted to show a sight that made even the Emperor's blood run cold. Ships unlike anything in the known galaxy hung in space, massive angular constructs that seemed to absorb light itself. They didn't reflect scanner beams, they devoured them. On Earth, Admiral Marcus Thompson stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, humanity's flagship. The vessel was a masterpiece of human engineering, incorporating technologies developed in secret for over a century. "All ships report ready, Admiral," his executive officer reported. Thompson nodded. "Begin Operation Revelation." Across human space, hidden facilities powered up. Cloaking fields dropped, revealing the true extent of humanity's military might. Space stations the size of small moons materialized. Shipyards that had been invisible for decades became visible, showing thousands of warships in various stages of construction. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as humanity's deception unraveled. They hadn't been a primitive species struggling to reach the stars. They had been an advanced civilization playing the long game, carefully hiding their true capabilities while studying every other race. Back in Zarathian space, panic spread like wildfire. The human ships didn't attack immediately. Instead, they broadcasted on all frequencies, showing the galaxy exactly what they were capable of. Holographic displays demonstrated weapons that manipulated fundamental forces, shields that operated on principles that violated known physics, propulsion systems that allowed instantaneous travel across vast distances. The message was clear: humanity could have conquered the galaxy at any time. They chose not to. Why? Emperor Krethor whispered, watching the displays. Why hide such power? His question was answered when a human diplomat appeared on screen. Ambassador Elena Volkov spoke with calm authority. For millennia, we watched as empire after empire rose and fell, each believing might made right. We chose a different path. We developed our technology not for conquest, but for defense. Not for subjugation, but for protection. She paused, letting her words sink in. You attacked us unprovoked. You threatened our world, our children, our future. Now you will learn why that was a mistake. The human fleet began to move, not toward Zarathian worlds, but to strategic positions throughout the galaxy. They established defensive perimeters around peaceful civilizations, offered protection to those who had suffered under imperial rule. The Zarathians watched helplessly as their tributary states began to defect, seeking shelter under humanity's protective umbrella. The empire that had taken millennia to build was crumbling in mere days. In desperation, Krethor ordered a massive counterattack. Every ship in the Imperial Navy was mobilized. Ancient weapons platforms were activated. Alliances were called upon. The resulting fleet was the largest ever assembled in galactic history. Millions of ships from dozens of species converged on human positions. Admiral Thompson watched the approaching armada with grim determination. They still don't understand, he murmured. Very well. Show them Operation Prometheus. What happened next would be remembered as the day of revelation. Human ships didn't engage in conventional combat. Instead, they activated a galaxy-wide defense grid that had been secretly constructed over decades. Hidden satellites throughout the galaxy came online, creating a network of interconnected defensive systems. Enemy ships found themselves trapped in localized space-time bubbles. Weapons fire was redirected back at the attackers. Entire fleets were transported to empty regions of space. The battle, if it could be called that, lasted less than an hour. Not a single human ship fired a conventional weapon. They didn't need to. As the Allied fleet found itself defeated without suffering a single casualty, understanding dawned across the galaxy. Humanity hadn't just developed advanced technology. They had transcended the very concept of warfare. Emperor Krethor slumped on his throne, watching his empire dissolve. We never stood a chance, did we? Ambassador Volkov appeared on his personal display. No, you didn't. But this isn't about vengeance. It's about change. The age of empires built on conquest is over. Humanity offers a new way forward. She extended her hand in the universal gesture of peace. Join us and help build a galaxy based on cooperation rather than subjugation. As the Emperor considered this unprecedented offer, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Human medical ships were appearing near war-torn worlds, offering aid. Human engineers were sharing technology to help rebuild destroyed infrastructure. Human teachers were establishing schools on planets that had never known education. The humans weren't conquerors. They were liberators, and they still hadn't revealed their main fleet. Deep in unexplored space, beyond the galactic rim, something massive stirred. The true scope of human preparation was about to be unveiled, and with it, the galaxy would learn that everything they had witnessed was merely the prelude to humanity's real plan. The war was over. The transformation of the galaxy was just beginning. Part 3. The galaxy learns its lesson. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so full. Representatives from every known civilization had gathered. There forms a kaleidoscope of evolutionary diversity. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Elena Volkov, humanity's voice to the stars. For too long, she began, her voice carried by translation devices to thousands of different species. This galaxy has known only the cycle of conquest and subjugation. Today, we offer an alternative. Behind her, holographic displays showed the true extent of humanity's preparations. Not just warships and weapons, but entire civilizations that humans had secretly protected and nurtured. Species thought extinct had been given sanctuary. Worlds destroyed by imperial wars had been rebuilt in hidden sectors. The revelation stunned the assembly. Humanity hadn't just been building weapons. They had been creating an ark for the galaxy's future. Emperor Krathor, now stripped of his military authority, stood among the observers. His once proud empire had fractured, with system after system declaring independence or seeking human protection. He watched in amazement as humanity unveiled their grand strategy. "We call it the Prometheus Initiative," Volkov explained, named after the mythological figure who gave fire to humanity. "We now offer that same gift to the galaxy, not the fire of destruction, but the fire of knowledge and progress." The displays shifted to show massive construction projects throughout the galaxy. Dyson spheres being built around stable stars, terraforming operations on dead worlds, networks of instantaneous transportation gates connecting distant civilizations. "This is what we were building while you fought your wars," Volkov continued. "This is why we hid our true capabilities." Avreen Diplomat, his crystalline form shimmering with emotion, spoke up. "But why reveal yourselves now? Why not continue in secrecy?" Volkov smiled. "Because the Zarathian invasion forced our hand, and because the galaxy is ready for change." As if on cue, alerts sounded throughout the chamber. Something was happening at the galactic rim. Sensors pointed toward the edge of known space detected an emergence of unprecedented scale. The true human fleet had arrived. They came not as conquerors, but as guardians. World ships the size of planets emerged from hyperspace. Entire mobile civilizations carrying billions of humans and allied species. Living arcs that had spent centuries exploring the space between galaxies. These weren't warships, though they could defend themselves if needed. They were seeds of civilization, each one capable of establishing entire stellar nations. They brought with them technologies and knowledge gathered from dimensions and realities that other species hadn't even theorized about. Admiral Thompson, aboard the Prometheus, opened a channel to the entire galaxy. "What you see before you is humanity's answer to the eternal question of survival. We chose not to conquer, but to preserve. Not to destroy, but to create." The world ships began to disperse throughout the galaxy, taking up positions near struggling civilizations. They offered not just protection, but partnership. Education, technology, resources, all freely given to those willing to embrace a new way forward. Emperor Krathor felt something shift within him. His entire life had been dedicated to conquest and power. Now, watching humanity's true plan unfold, he understood how small his vision had been. "I wish to speak," he announced, surprising everyone. The council fell silent as the former emperor approached the central platform. Volkov stepped aside, allowing him to address the assembly. "I stand before you as a remnant of the old ways," Krathor began, his voice heavy with emotion. "I led my people down a path of destruction, believing strength came from subjugation. The humans have shown us a greater strength, the strength to lift others up rather than push them down." He turned to Volkov, and, in a gesture that shocked his former subjects, knelt. "I pledge what remains of the Zarathian Empire to this new vision. Teach us. Help us become better than we were." The gesture sparked a wave of similar declarations. One by one, representatives of imperial powers, warrior races, and predatory civilizations stepped forward to pledge themselves to humanity's vision. The transformation wasn't instant or easy. Some resisted, clinging to old ways. But humanity was patient. They didn't force change. They demonstrated its benefits. Worlds that joined the Prometheus Initiative flourished. Trade networks expanded. Scientific advancement accelerated. Art and culture experienced a renaissance. Within a decade, the galaxy was unrecognizable. The age of empires had ended, replaced by a confederation of free worlds united by shared values rather than force. Humanity didn't rule this new order. They simply provided the framework for others to govern themselves. In the depths of space, the world ships continued their work. They were preparing for something even greater, contact with other galaxies, other dimensions. Humanity's vision extended beyond their own galaxy to the universe itself. General Sarah Chen, now retired, watched from her home on Earth as children played in parks that had once been military bases. Schools taught alien languages alongside human ones. The night sky, once a source of fear, now inspired wonder and curiosity. "We did it," she whispered to herself. "We really did it." The last surprise came when humanity revealed the final component of their plan. Deep beneath Earth's surface, in the bunkers that had once housed military commands, lay something extraordinary, a complete historical record of every civilization that had ever existed in the galaxy. Humanity had been watching and recording for far longer than anyone suspected. They had preserved the culture, art, and knowledge of species long extinct. This gift, freely shared, allowed the galaxy to reconnect with its past while building its future. As Ambassador Volkov addressed the Galactic Council for the final time before stepping down, she left them with words that would echo through history. "We are all children of the stars, born from the same cosmic dust. Our strength lies not in our ability to destroy, but in our capacity to create, to preserve, and to lift each other toward the light." This is humanity's gift to the galaxy, not an empire, but a future. The humans never did reveal their main fleet. Some said it didn't exist, that it had been a bluff all along. Others believed it waited still, hidden in dimensions beyond understanding, ready to emerge if the galaxy ever faced a threat too great for conventional forces. The truth, as with many things about humanity, remained a mystery, but one thing was certain. The galaxy had learned its lesson. The age of empires was over. The age of unity had begun.